Welcome back to the Green Beret Life. This is the SCIF. I'm Matt. That is Stu. I hope you guys are not panicking, okay, because things are going to go our way. And I hope you're all still on the Trump train, because we've got a kick-ass president. We've got a kick-ass administration, and good things are coming. There are some bumps that are going to be here on the horizon. We're going to try to talk about a few of those tonight. We're here on YouTube right now. We're on YouTube, Rumble, and Odysee. If you are watching us here on YouTube and you're not on Rumble, please go and join our Rumble channel, because that's where it's at. Basically, we're here on YouTube. YouTube sucks. I don't know if you've heard me say this before, but YouTube is not a free speech platform. YouTube is unfair. I think YouTube needs to be investigated for the things that they've done, right? And the things that they continue to do. But we basically try to pull people. They've done their best to destroy our channel. We try to pull people from YouTube over to Rumble. Rumble is where it's at. We can speak freely. We got to watch what we say over here. We got to speak in code, and it's just not a place that's conducive for American open thought, diversity of opinion, and intellectual openness, to be honest with you. So we really make that push. If you haven't joined us over at Rumble, please come and join us over at Rumble. We're only here on YouTube to try to pull people off of YouTube, to be honest, to our channel over there. If you want to reach out to either Stu or myself, you can reach us at the email address below, TheGreenBeretLife@gmail.com. If you have any questions about the military, if you have any questions about contracting, if you have an idea and you have a few people put together and you have a training idea, we can always discuss this. So if you just want to send us a message, send us a message. We try to get to everybody there. Sometimes it takes a little bit of time, but we try to get back with everybody who reaches out to us. If you've got ideas for the show, anything, you just want to send us anything that's on your mind, go ahead and do it. Okay. With that being said, Stu, what is on the docket for tonight?
Got a few things. Looking at the tariffs that Trump is implementing, and kind of what the expectation is on the outcome of that. There's a lot of noise and wailing and gnashing of teeth of the businesses and investors and everything else. And we were talking about this earlier. The market has been well overdue for a correction for a long time. There's been, I think, probably almost a decade of super low interest loans. And, you have, when you reach a certain amount of money, you have options other people don't have. And it had reached the point that people could go out and take out loans because the interest rate was so low, invested into the stock market, and it was free money. And everything's been inflated. It's due for a correction. It's been due forever, but nobody's wanted to make that happen because of all the people who get their feelings hurt. And again, I absolutely have an understanding for, people that are in retirement, they're on fixed income, they're living off their IRAs and the 401ks, and they're absolutely nervous about this because that's driving their money to live
Stu,
on.
I think what people need to understand is that they're being intentionally scared by organizations such as Fox News, and we're going to get into that too. The Wall Street Journal, which is Fox News as well, and some traditional conservative outlets. So they're Stu's 100% right. We want to make sure that people understand that a lot of what you're seeing is manufactured, and we're doing the right thing. I mean, we have no option. We're $37 trillion in debt. We've pissed away all our manufacturing. This country could not remain as a world leader losing all of its manufacturing. You just can't. We need to bring our manufacturing back. Go ahead, Stu.
We cannot sustain on the path that we're on. There has to be a change. And and actually I had brought it up, and I'll bring it up here because we were just looking at it. This is the 10-year graph here of the Dow Jones 10-year daily chart. And as you can see, the stock market it corrects. It has drops. It corrects. It continues to climb. It drops. It corrects. It continues to climb. And that's what this is going to do here. There's going to be a correction. It's going to drop, and then it's going to continue to climb. But this whole part here, the continue to climb that we see across decade after decade, you're not being shown that in the news. You're not being told that in the news. All you're being told is, oh my God, bloodbath on the Dow. Dow closed down today. Yes, it does. It happens. That is the normal course of events that everyone has been shielded from in the past, 8 to 10 to 15 years.
But with that being said, who makes money in massive volatility? The big boys. The big boys make money in volatility, right? So yes. This is what we have going now, massive volatility, and people are making money, folks. But our economy is going to take off. The stock market's going to be taken off. It just is. As these deals start to come in, they are trying to scare you. We cannot ship everything over. So we have built the world on the backs of our economy. That's what we've done. And we can't do it anymore. We are $37 trillion in debt. Every country out there takes advantage of the United States. You look at countries like Canada. Canada relies on a massive trading surplus between the United States and Canada. They rely on that. Canada has if you look at Canada and Europe, their militaries are almost non-existent. Why? Yeah. Because we protect everybody. We protect everybody.
There was a statement I heard, Matt. You're talking about the Canada and the U.S. This new prime minister that was appointed in Canada made some statement about the friendship between the U.S. and Canada is over. And the response I saw to that was any friendship that only exists, for the purposes of being taken advantage of is not a friendship.
Correct.
So if you're telling me you're my friend and I'm like, hey, look, man, I can't continue to give you, $1,000 a month. I've got my own bills to pay. And my friendship is over. There was never a friendship. That was a leech. That was a parasite. That's what that was. And that's what's continued to happen. And one of the things I was listening to as well, coming out of World War II, Canada had the second, or no, I think maybe the third or fourth largest navy in the world. What do they have now?
They no navy. They don't have a navy.
They have nothing.
Yeah. They have the United States Navy because we're here and we protect Canada. And you look at Great Britain. Great Britain had the Navy, right? They've got nothing. They're nothing, right? So with all the panic and the fearmonger, if you're watching Fox News, I pity you because you are being fed propaganda on Fox News. Fox News is bringing what?
Matt, Canada has 68,000 people on active duty. They have less than 100,000 people, or probably a little over 100,000 people active and reserve. That is the extent of their armed forces, not their Navy, not their Air Force, not their Army.
They have less people in their entire armed forces than we have on Fort Bragg.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, think about that.
It isn't just Canada. It's all of these European countries, and they want to tout their healthcare system, their social services systems. Wow, say that 3 times fast. But the thing is, they can do that because we pay to defend them. Look at when Ukraine kicked off. Who had to kick in all the money? The U.S. did. They didn't.
Yeah.
The EU did not.
We've said this on this show. The European Union is not our friend. Those countries in the European Union are not our friends, right? We have some burgeoning friendships, Hungary being one of them, right? And we can be friends in the future, but we're not going to sit there here and fund all of NATO. We're not going to sit here and fund economies based on the back of our economies. Now, a lot of this started after World War II, where this is how Europe was rebuilt, but they just kept it. So we're now these massive surpluses with pretty much every single country in the world. You are starting to see countries come to the table now that Trump has done this. Every president before Trump had the ability to do this, but none of them had the balls to do it, right?
No,
And
they wouldn't, because they're more worried about their quote unquote legacy and what they're remembered for. They don't want to do anything that's going to rock the boat.
And America was in a controlled decline. We're dying. America is dying. Unless we do something, we're not going to get this engine back to life. So, all of this fear mongering that you're hearing, let it go in one ear and out the other. This has to happen. And in order to get manufacturing back in the United States, we have to do this. And we're no longer going. What really cracks me up is that you hear these people that are so vociferous against what Trump is doing. Somebody today said to me, Trump is making a mess of things. I said, excuse me? Please tell me how. You have countries charging the United States 90% tariffs for our products going here. We're charging them nothing. So tell me how he's making a mess of things. I would say everybody that came before him made a mess of things. We've run all of our manufacturing out of the country. We invent stuff here, but then we build it over there. And when we build it over there in countries like China, guess what we're doing? We're giving them what we invented, our intellectual technology. We're giving it to them. We cannot sustain this. China, that monster that we've created over there, that's creating heartache for us all over the world. We built that monster. All of the bullshit you see, the European Union was basically designed, right, to help take down the United States. That's what the European Union was built for, in my opinion. Okay, got to be careful because we're on YouTube here, and they're going to have
it was
leftist fat checkers
with the United States. How about we say that on YouTube?
Yeah. So this is something that needs to happen. I think everybody listening here understands that. There's going to be some blips, and let me tell you this: our economy is not based off of our stock market. That's another misnomer that's out there. Yeah. The economy is not based off of a stock market.
What's the phrase they kept wanting to tout whenever the stock market was taking hits under Obama? Wall Street isn't Main Street. But it's true. They're not tied together.
But yet they were touting the opposite when Biden was in, and we got the Wall Street is overinflated. It's overinflated, just like Stu started the show with. It is overinflated. It needs a correction. Our stock market's going to continue to grow once we get these deals done. And here's the bottom line. We're starting to get deals done. So you saw that everything was going great today. We were actually up today, right? And then we lost that, and it closed down from where it was because of what's going on with China. We'll explain that in a second. Do you think it's a good time right now just to switch off of YouTube?
Yeah, we can. We had a pretty good discussion here on YouTube. And before we go, Troy did have a comment about Canada. He said Canada has a wall to protect it. The U.S. is that wall. And that's exactly right. There's nobody, and granted, the U.S. is very fortunate in its location and the structure. And we have vast oceans between us and those that wish us harm in great numbers. I mean, granted, we've got open borders for the past 4 years that we just let anybody in. So who knows what's running around our major metropolitan areas at the moment. But we're much better suited for defense than Europe is. There's not much between Europe and Northern Africa. There's not much between Europe and the Middle East. I mean, it's all land. And it's easy to, borders are porous. You can't be everywhere. And we're fortunate in that aspect, but absolutely Canada and has definitely ridden on that coattail, and the EU definitely takes advantage of that when it comes to things, and expects the US to fund everything. And up until this point, we have. And you've got NATO, you've got the UN, and all that, where we've got you've got these countries on there that are on permanent positions on these committees that are in direct opposition to the United States and our welfare and well-being. And in the UN, you have these countries that are on permanent committees. No, it shouldn't be. It's none of this was designed, or none of this can be used to help the U.S. It can only be used to hinder, and that's exactly what it's used for.
Absolutely.
But
with that being said, I am pulling the pin right now, and I'm tossing it on the floor into the corner. So